Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Leilu Nishmas Chaim. You're not going to believe this. Live from Minneapolis, the yeshiva of Minneapolis. I just decided last night, probably about midnight, to grab a flight, check out the yeshiva. My son Eliza is looking for yeshiva. Heard it's an unbelievable place. It is an unbelievable place. And what I discovered is I was going to go get I was going to just get a hotel room and give a shiur from a hotel. I didn't realize until yesterday that there's a place called Minneapolis, where anybody grew up in New York, it's New York and the Dalai Lama's in New York, that's it. It's a beautiful community here. And how do you know that it's a beautiful community? There's a great pizza shop here and there's great people. Mamish, everybody I met here, for some reason, only normal people. Was pshat. Maybe only normal people do the daf. I don't know, but it's crazy. So I'm very excited to be here. So I thought that my flight is at about 8 o'clock. It turns out that I'm landing at 8 o'clock. So the good news is that there's going to be a shorter shiur. Less preparation means shorter shiur. And where I don't know, don't correct me. I'm just going to thump it through, pretend I know. Okay, that's the deal. And you can help me out. So not too many emails. Today is the 15th day of the Omer in Eretz Yisrael. In America is the 14th day of the Omer. I have one hate email only from a Talmud from Woodmere. I'm only going to read one email. I very much appreciate shiurim. Been following for about a year. Has made my time life more meaningful. Having said that, I was taken back by something you recently said. There's a reference to what is important in life. You seem to mock the 7-year-old who may want to purchase a new home and decorate it, etc. You intimated, if not already indicated, that this is a waste of time. How many years does he have left anyway? It's a very insensitive comment. How do you think people in their 70s feel about this idea? I don't know how old your father-in-law is. Maybe well, but how would he feel about this comment? Listen, first of all, I was talking about building a house, but I don't know, 70, 80. I feel that I'm basically, I'm 50 and I feel it's over. So, okay, listen, each their own. They're 110-year-olds. The guy that's 120 years old also thinks that he's going to live forever. Oh, we have a couple of 70-year-olds here, right? Maybe.
He just built a house.
Oh, you just built a house? Get over here. Come, get over here. Come, tell the Olam what an idiot I am. Come. No, come. No. He really just built a house?
Yeah.
For what? Why?
I moved into the Arab and I built the house so that we have everything on one place. Our bedroom itself is on one
place. Okay. Listen, you can build a house when you're. I just don't understand it happens to be that I think that day that I spoke about is the day that I came back from the tile shop with my wife. You understand? You understand? It's like hours of this disco with this, and what about what does she call them? The pieces, the accent tiles. She takes me to this place. I'm not exaggerating. Each accent piece, $150 each. Small. I went Meshuggah over there, whatever. Okay. She wants to, and we're going to bring it to Eretz Yisrael, on a lift. So, what? I can't tell her, look, we're not going to be here for so long, until it gets to Eretz Yisrael, we're certainly not going to be here so long. Whatever, okay.
She doesn't want you here.
But she hears every word I say, all these things. Like right now, somebody's calling her out right now. Your husband's saying, no need to read this during shiur, but if you do, please do not mention my name. Respectfully, a Talmud from Woodmere, New York. I respect what you say. I probably didn't know what I was talking about when I said it. Charata, okay. Especially in front of the guy that just built his house. The Koilel is sponsored from Anonymous from Lakewood, the Masech sponsored by Mr. Eli Stefansky, Leilu Nishmas Menachem Toporowitz, Menachem Toporowitz, Shalom ben ybl'c, Yehושע Doiv. Paras HaChodesh, the MDY Family, Leilu Nishmas Chaim Oren, Zechraya Bracha ben ybl'c Eliyahu. Second Paras HaChodesh, Leilu Nishmas Chaim Yosef. Paras HaChodesh, the Entire MDY Family, Leilu Nishmas Avraham Menashe ben Moshe Aryeh. And Leilu Nishmas Zechraya ben Moshe, the paras of the day, Yitchak ben Chaim, paras of the art. For complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi ben Leah. I'll tell you real quickly, why I thought it would be a great fit for my son, this yeshiva, and why I like this yeshiva. Because it kind of fits into my philosophy. If I had to build a yeshiva, I think I would build something similar to this, where they learn very, very hard over here. The Bachram take tests on Masechtas. They know a lot of stuff, but they also play very hard. There's a lot of sports and open-minded. It was just, I thought it was a good idea. Anyway, if you have a son in America, check out Minneapolis. Sei gesund. So, big announcement. Be'ezer Hashem, because I am flying through New York on Sunday, so there'll be a live share in New York at some time. I don't know where and I don't know when. Hopefully not like here, not a 2-hour mess up the last second, or hour mess up. But it will be. So if you live in New York, I'll see you Be'ezer Hashem on Sunday afternoon sometime, maybe 5 o'clock-ish or something like that. I have a 12 o'clock flight at night, so whatever. We'll have to do it 5, 6 o'clock. Okay. We're holding Daf Chav Gimel Amud Aleph, smack in the middle of a Mishnah. In Vilna, it's in the middle of the Mishnah, but in the Mishnayos, it's actually a brand new Mishnah. Amud Beis should not take more than 3-4 minutes. Whatever, it's just reading. It's just psukim. Amud Aleph it's Sotah. Everything is very, very simple. Just not as maybe agadita as usual. Says the Mishnah, Bas Yisrael shenisis l'kayin. Like 5 lines down, you have a Yisraelis who marries a kayin. Minchasa nisrefes. What mincha are we talking about? Now, a mincha is a type of a carbon, and we're not talking about your mincha of a Sotah necessarily. Also, a mincha of a Sotah. We are in Masechta Sotah, but it's referring to all menachas that a woman would bring. So a woman who marries a kayin, this is the dilemma. Big dilemma here. Why? A kayin, we're going to learn halachas. Every one of these halachas are probably halachas that we didn't learn yet and people are not so familiar with. A mincha, when you're talking about a mincha, some flour, some oil, sometimes it's without oil. When a person brings a mincha, is it Kedushas Damim, Kedushas Guf? Is it Kodesh Kachim Kalim, Kachim? What is it? How Kodesh is a mincha? Anybody know? Is it as Kodesh as a Chatas, let's say, which is Kachim? The answer is yes. It's right up there with the top of the top. Kachim. Sometimes a person brings a mincha when he can't afford another carbon. There's different types of minachas. Sotah has no choice. She brings a mincha. When a kayin brings a mincha, typically, let's start from Yisrael. When Yisrael brings a mincha, what's the process? He brings the flour, and we said they pour it into a kli sharis, so it gets kedushas haguf, and then the kayin sticks his hand in there on a certain angle. He takes out this much flour. That's the kmitza, and then he puts on the mizbeach. When a kayin brings a mincha, there is no kmitza. Nobody does this. They take the entire thing, put it on the mizbeach. When you take a kmitza out of it for the Yisrael, so that part goes on the mizbeach. The rest, the kayin needs. So now we have a dilemma. We have a kayin who's married to Yisrael, and she wants to bring a mincha, but she's not a kayin like that. She's married to one. Her husband, if you were to bring a mincha, the entire thing goes on the mizbeach. If she were to bring a mincha, they would divide it. There would be a kmitza, and the rest would go to the kayin. Now, we have a problem here. What do? If you first burn the kmitza, and then you want to burn the rest of it, because it's like a kayin's, we go after the husband, he owns, maybe he gave her the money to buy it, it's like his. You can't do that. You can't burn a kmitza and then burn the rest. Once you burn part of it, you burn the ikar of it, you can't burn anything else. That's impossible. So maybe we'll do the opposite. We'll burn the rest of it. We'll burn the whole bowl. And then we'll burn the kmitza part. That also you can't do. Why? Because there's another halacha that if some of the rest of it is missing, some of the bowl is missing, that's it. You can't do anything about it. It doesn't matter how it goes missing. So if you put it on the mizbeach and it gets burned, so it's missing now. It's missing, it got burned. So you can't put the kmitza on. So what do? So Bas Yisrael Shenisis Lekayin Minchasin Esrefes. First, you take a kmitza, and then you have to dispose of the rest with sreifa. You don't put the rest on the mizbeach. You put the rest on the deshen. Okay, so we're talking about any kind of mincha, whether it's a mincha, any type of woman who gets married to a kohen, an almana, whatever. Says the Mishnah, v'kohenes shenises liyisrael minchasen echeles. But the reverse, if you have a bas kohen who got married to Yisrael, so now she's like a Yisraelis, and the kmitza goes on the mizbeach. When it says, by the way, minchasen esrefes and over minchasen echeles, we're talking about the second part of it. The first part, the kmitza goes on the mizbeach in both cases. What do you do with the leftover? Minchasen echeles, it can be eaten. Now we have a very interesting Mishnah. What is the difference between a kohen and a kohenes, a male and a female kohen, and what is the difference in general? If you were to think about this, how many differences can you come up with between a male and a female? A zachar and a keva. We're not in terms of personality or whatever. In terms of halacha. Says the Mishnah, Ma bein kohen lekohenes, minchas kohenes necheles, uminchas kohen eina necheles. So one difference would be, as we just mentioned a second ago, that if she's a kohenes that's married to Yisrael, you could eat the mincha, but a kohen himself, the entire mincha goes on the mizbeach. Kohenes mischalelas. I mentioned this in Shir. Maybe I shouldn't mention it because get some hate mail. But I mentioned it a few times and he never sent me a hate mail. But I have a friend who's a kohen. He's not really a kohen. He's a chalal. So he always gets shlishi, never gets kohen. And in fact, his father came to shul once. And his father got kohen. It was a little embarrassing. Seriously, because his mother, Balas Tshuva, went to college or whatever, and the father shouldn't have married her. But so he's a chalal. Chalal lasts forever. Zman hazeh. So kohenes mischalelas. A woman, she herself can become a chalal. The man, it's not fair. He could do all sorts of things. He could be with a grusha. He could be with all sorts of people that are usher to him. He himself, nothing ever happens to himself. What happens, the problem is to his tzatzayim, to his children. The kohenem is chal. Kohenes mitam l'meisim. Okay, so one good thing for the man, but now there's a good thing for the woman. A kohenes, she could go to funerals. We know a kohen can't go, only for the Sheva Kroivim. They once asked the woman, what's so special about, what difference does it make that you're married to a kohen? Like, where's the difference? So she thought, she said, I have to make sure, this is in Eretz Yisrael, so I don't know if you'll chap as much as I have to make sure that my husband's socks don't have any holes in them. That's it. That was the only thing she could come up with. Because when they duchen, there's a problem, people should make fun of, but also the halachically it's a problem if the people look. You don't want them to look over there. Fine. There is a big nafkamina, seriously. A person who's a kohenes, I know a woman who's a kohenes, she told me that her father never came to see her in the hospital. She had babies, etc. because of, the stuff going on in the hospital, the tum in the hospital. So there are differences. She could be in the hospital. She could go visit as much as she wants, but her father cannot be mitama. If there's a problem, there's a sign on the thing that there's a mace in the hospital, you can't come in. Kachim. Says Rashi, chatos asham mincha. Oh. Mincha. Probably wouldn't think that, no? Before Shir, anybody thought that a mincha is kachi kachim? It's like a little bit of a shvacha karma. No, it's kachi kachim. A shlamim, for instance, is not kachi kachim. Shlamim is kachi kal. So, no, I'm good. I'm Baruch Hashem, it's fine. Ve'ein kohenes oicheles b'kachi kachim. A woman kohen cannot eat a chatas asham and a mincha. Ma bein ish leisha. I think this is a very important mishnah. What is the difference halachically between a man and a woman? Hoish, if a man becomes a metzora, Pireya upirim. Pireya means that he can't get a haircut. Which is interesting because the Rambam paskins that a metzora has to cover his head. So he can't shave, but he has to cover his head. He says up to the eyes. Literally, up to the mouth. Up to here. It's completely covered. Like a baba, like I don't even know who does that. Like ninjas, whatever. Up to the, like lachluchas. Hoyish, pireya u poirem. Poirem means to tear your clothing like an oval. Tear the clothing right over here. But a woman was a mitzayra. She has hilchas mitzayra. Saras applies, like we know from Miriam. Saras applies, we know from the psukim. But there is no issa for her to take a haircut, and she doesn't have a chiyov to cut her clothing. A person, a man, could make his son a nazir. But a woman cannot make her son a nazir. So when we learned nazir, what was the kasha we had? Who's the famous woman who made her son a nazir? Chana. So how did she do that? She doesn't have a right. So the Rishonim, I think, discuss over there that Chana did it, and she asked for Yosef, or he was mikabel on himself later when he got older. Okay, different tirutzim. Oyesh migalech al nizirus aviv. Oh, I was supposed to say this. Fine, MDYchazar.com. I'll show you guys because I don't have a second screen for you guys, but you guys can see this now. Here goes this thing. This is Aish Megalech on the Zero Saviv. So here's the father, here's the son. The father set aside money for his carbon. Okay, not a carbon, money for the carbon. And then what happened? He goes sideways. Bye bye. So the son inherits the money. Hold on. Oh, I have to get this. Oh, we missed some of it, but okay. You got the idea. So with the money that the father set aside for the zeros, he goes ahead and he buys the carbon for his own zeros if he was a nazir when his father was alive and a nazir. So you have a father, you have a son. They were both nazirim at the same time. The father put some money aside to buy these korbanos. It's an expensive ordeal to buy 3 korbanos. So he puts it aside. And then he dies. So he can use that money and use it for his own korbanos, where you don't have this halach anywhere else. You can't use somebody else's money for somebody else designated money for carbon nazir and he dies. No one in the world can use it besides the son that inherits that money. So a boy who's a nazir could use his father's money of nazirus. But a woman cannot use her father's money. Thank you, Mark. I see he's still there. He's manipulating the screen for you. I see there's 27 people on YouTube. Thank you. Oh, I forgot to announce. Maybe Yosef. It's kind of late. Maybe we can take this piece out, cut it. Okay, he knows what to do, right? And then he'll make fun of me that I said to cut it and I'll leave it in. Oh, okay. So don't cut it, please. Don't cut it. Leave it right over here. But do cut it and whatever. So we know that a father midiraisa could accept kiddushin for his daughter, but a mother cannot. But we learned throughout Shas that a mother and a brother could be mikadesh the daughter. That's only midirabara. And what could a daughter do if the mother and a brother mikadesh her? Mion. Do miyun. But that's only the Rabbanan halach. The famous halach of miyun is only the Rabbanan. Midiraisa, there's no miyun. And midiraisa, father can be mekadosh, not a mother. Vayish moicher's bitoi. Sounds like a terrible thing that a father sells his daughter when she's a ketana, only when she's a ketana. But a mother cannot sell her daughter. And the way it used to be, there was such poverty then that they probably couldn't afford food for themselves and not for the children. So it's better off I give her to this wealthy guy in the neighborhood, let him feed her, she'll work a little in the kitchen, and sometimes he marries her. It's a whole, okay, fine. I'm not going to get into that. Says this whole thing of going back and forth between a zachar and a keva. There was a guy in my koil. He's still in my koil. He said one time during Kaparas, a Yerushalmi guy shows up to koilo with a chicken in a basket, and the whole place is like, okay, I understand you have to do Kaparas, but like you have to bring it to the koil. So one of the Chevermanim there, he went to the refrigerator and he saw an egg. So he took an egg and he put it in the basket. And the Yerushalmi, after Seder, he almost had a heart attack. What, in a keva? What, he's going to do kaparsan in a keva? He went crazy. So the guy told him, no, it's a zachar. The zachar had a thing. He says, no, look at that egg. So finally the guy took the egg and showed him that said tnuva on the egg. This was not possible. Okay, fine. This big nafka yamin is between a zachar and a keva, as we see here in the Mishnah. Oish niskal arum. If somebody is, let's say, Michal Shabbos and he gets skila, they give him skila completely without clothing. The Menachem Erev is covered, but otherwise, and we learned, it's very interesting that, remember we said, after Rech Kamoicha, Bror Misa Yafa, when do we have it? This Masech, I don't even remember anymore. But that just a little bit of clothing makes the death it takes a little bit longer to die. So in order to be nice to the guy, we take his clothes off, so he should die, but it doesn't make sense because it's sneeze reasons for a woman, so we leave her clothes on. Sometimes they take the body and they hang it, but you don't do that to a woman. And if Yisrael steals something and he doesn't have enough money to pay for it, they'll sell him as an eved. Even if she steals something, she doesn't have with what to pay, they don't sell her. As we had in the Mishnah, that if anybody marries a kohen, then the leftover part of the mincha, not the kmitza goes in the mizbeach, but the leftover part is burned. Ketzad kohenes levi Yisraelis, whether it's even a kohenes, even a levi Yisraelis, and he says the kohen. So the kohen himself, the husband, if he were to bring a mincha, it would be completely burnt. And Rashi goes ahead to explain, and etc. So he has a chelik in her mincha. But she at the end is the one that was over or wants to bring the mincha for whatever reason. So it's hers in a way. So what do? You take the kmitza and you burn it. Then you take the leftovers you put on the mizbeach. Ask the Gemara, how can you do that? From the word mimenu we learn liishim harehu b'baltaktiru. Once you put what you have to be makriv. In our case, it's the kmitza, right? You just take a scoopful with your hand. The kohen takes with his hand. That little part is what has to go on the mizbeach. That went on the mizbeach. Once that goes on the mizbeach, you can't be makriv anything else. You're not allowed to put the rest of the bowl in there. Omar Yehuda b'rei Reb Shimon Pazi the masik lehu l'shum eitzim k'Reb Eliezer. So the Gemara has eitzah. What do? We have halacha by when you have a varim of a chatas and an oila that get mixed up together. A oila is kul Hashem. The entire thing goes up on the mizbeach. Chatas only part of it. So what do you do when you have a mix-up? You don't know, are we talking about something that's a chatas or oila? If it's a oila, it can go on the mizbeach. If it's chatas, it's not allowed to go on the mizbeach. What do you do? We just said, once the main part of the chatas goes on the mizbeach, you can't put other stuff on. It's not a free-for-all. If a person decides to put the whole chatas on the mizbeach, it doesn't work, you're not allowed to do that. So what do? So Rebbe comes with the eitzah. You make it tonight. Say, if this piece of meat is a oila meat, great. I'm being kind of the mitzvah, I'm putting it on the mizbeach. But if it's the chatas meat, I want to use it as firewood. I'm not trying to be maktir. The isser is baktaktiru, to add to the carbon. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to find firewood. I want to make the fire bigger. That's great. They say it's usher to make such a tnai and to use to use chatas for firewood. Michael Meimar. There's another way to do it. Hakoymetz korev va'atzmoi va'ashirayim mispazrim al beis hadeshen. He's talking about a minchas choyte, a kohen who's very poor and did some aveira, and he doesn't have enough money. He can't afford a carbon, so he brings a mincha. He can afford a few cents worth of flour, so we allow him to bring that. So we have a shiloh, what to do with it. What do you do? On the one hand, he's a kohen, and everything should be burnt. On the other hand, it's a mincha of a chayta. What do you do? So it says, you make like a pshara. You take the kmitza that you put on the mizbeach, and the shirayin, the leftover, you put in Beis Hadeshen. I guess I had another. I completely missed this one. See, because I don't have a screen in front of me. What I'm seeing is a different screen. I'm seeing what the YouTube people see. This is different for you guys. I should be seeing this. Okay, I have to put a little bit like this way. Let's just do this because this is. Let me get the volume on. I think this guy's lit, right, from Nazar. He's the kind of a shikr guy that, in order to get out of his alcoholism, he decided to become a Nazar. And this is his son. Okay, here we go. So Shnachas, he says, lit. The only thing is getting out of hand. Yeh b'ni nazir. That's the woman making nazir. So he said, Rebelli said in Shir that the moms can't make their kids nazir. So therefore he says, Yeh b'ni nazir. Okay, fine. Next. That's a chart for another thing that we learned already. Okay. That l'reach nechayach, just to go back to what we just learned a second ago, the pasuk is telling us l'reach nechayach. What can you put on the mizbeach if you're bringing a carbon l'reach nechayach? But if you're bringing it for wood, that's okay according to one sheet. Now we're holding by the next thing. Here's the Beis Hadeshen. If you want to know Beis Hadeshen, there's like 3 deshens, but the simple one, this is where they take the Trumas Hadeshen. So in that circle. Every morning, the kohen goes up to the mizbeach, takes a shovel full of ashes, brings it down, pours it into that hole. The nace, it went into the ground. It disappeared. So, right over here, things that have to get burnt, usually, sometimes, if it's a large animal, they bring it outside. But this is a place where the mincha, vashirayim mispazrim, it's not just scattered, like the word pizur. It means that it's scattered over the Beis Hadeshen, but it's burnt. You burn it over there. Okay, Daf Gimel Amud Beis. Here goes, real quick. Before we go real quick, we have to finish a couple lines here. And Chav Gimel Amud Beis sponsor Latzlacha of Aryeh ben Aliza Simcha Sheine Mashe and Aliza Simcha Sheine Mashe Bracha and Latzlacha ben Magid, the members of the HBA Group and their families. Amen. Says Gemara, V'afilu Chav Gimel Amud Beis. V'afilu Rabbanon lo yipli yali the Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon Ela b'minchas choyte shel kohanim. Rabbanon hold that's not true. The Basakravi by a mincha chayda, this mincha that we're talking about that a kohen is bringing and he's an ani, you be makir. Al baha by a mincha of a woman, afilu Rabbanon moide that the shirayim are burnt. Right, so we have a new eitzah what to do. The kmitza goes in the Mizbeach. The rest of it, since she's married to a Kohen, but she herself is the Israelis, what do? You put it in the Beis Hadeshen. You burn it. That's the bottom line. All right, so this Gemara, basically all the way till the end of the Perek, is just going back to all the halachas that we learned, and where's the pasuk? And without going into details, no machlokes, and just plain simple. Bas Yisrael and Esua, my time adom akrov minchas koyin kol tia loisi ochel koyin v'loikeres. Only the koyin has this halacha that you take the entire mincha, you put it on the mizbeach, but not a woman. Koyin is mischalas, koyin aim mischal. Why is it that a koyin is different than a kohenes? Menolan dom akrov v'loichalel zari ba'amot. Zari mischalel v'uein mischal. It's a double lashon. Yichalel is plural to teach us that a koyin has the right to be machal a woman, that's one, and her offspring, that's two. But he himself is not mischal. Kohenes metama. What? Oh, that's a good shaila. Excellent. They talk about it. But within the limud, they say that l'maisa we're not going into that nekuda. But at the end of the day, that's where. Yeah, I did see that they talk about it. Kohenes mitamo, my time on makro, and more like kohanim. I told you can't ask good kashas now, right? At BMS I saw that they discuss it. I don't remember exactly who. Oh makro, and more like kohanim b'nei Aryeh. Seriously, on a typical day, let me just tell you my schedule real quickly because we have a lot of time here. How much time are we learning here?
Look at the Rashi.
What does he say?
Look at the Rashi.
It
says there's two halalos there.
Yeah, that's what I said, but it's not. You only see on one direction. That's what he's asking.
That's what he's saying. There's two.
Yeah, but you don't see that her chilul.
No. Rashi said we're kohen and knows it two.
Shakoy mechal shneim, avu emischal.
Echad lo ve'echad b'zaro.
I'm telling you that okay, fine, I hear. That's what I said, but still, there's something missing here. Okay, what I was trying to tell you is that on a typical day, the shear is at 7:15 in the morning. I get up usually at 3:30 to do the final preparations, charts, whatever. Almost the entire day I spend preparing the shear. So today, I got up at 4:30 to catch a flight, not to learn. And I thought I was going to be able to learn the flight, but I fell asleep. I get very, the oxygen, whatever. And then I was here busy schmoozing. Not a lot of time to prepare shear, especially when I'm in America. So it's a different, go easy on me. Kohenes mischaleles, kohenes mischal. Menon do makro v'lo yichal zar ba'amo, zar mischal v'u mischal. Yeah, kohenes mitamo, my time on makro. Why could a kohenes go to levaya but not a kohen? More like kohanim b'nei Aryeh. B'nei Aryeh v'lo b'nois Aryeh. Kohen lo yichal b'kodesh kodeshim. D'chsiv kol zocher b'nei Aryeh yichleno. It could say, it doesn't have to say b'nei Aryeh. Zocher b'nei Aryeh. Double fine. Uma ish, ma b'nish. Torah bonen ish ainli elo ish. Isha menayik shu oimer v'atzurua. How do you know that there's even tzaras by a woman shu oimer v'atzurua asher boy harei kan shnai? Because the pasuk before is already talking about a mitzayra. So then why does the pasuk continue? V'hatzurua. We're already talking about the tzurua. Harei kan shnai. Imkei matam ish. Lin shalamata ish perea. This halacha that teaches the halacha that only a man doesn't shave and only a man cuts his clothing. Why can't a woman make her son a nazir? This is halacha l'Moshe Messinai. Halacha hi benazir. It's also. Listen, these Gemaras don't have stories. They don't have mishalim. It's just okay. What's the halacha? There's a thing. What do you see from here? I don't know. You see that everything has a makar. Bottom line, everything has a makar. Esbiti, my daughter. Man is talking, not a woman. So this is interesting. It's not as simple as we think. My oisoi You're going to tell me that only a man has skila, not a woman has skila. A woman also has skila. So why does it come to exclude? Only he has this halacha of arum. You don't hang a woman. My time on my crop is only his gneiba. Hadran Allah Noitel. Hadran Allah Noitel. Hadran Allah Noitel. At the end of the day, he gave me this Amud Beis. It's gewaldig. That Amud Beis I thought I need extra 2 hours for. Maybe there is some good stuff. What was the Masifta have? I have him Sifta, and I look at Masifta. I asked my chavers to look at Masifta. He said, I don't know if it's true. He said that they missed Daf Chav Gimel. They kind of skipped on the whole Daf Chav Gimel. He said, look at Leib the Hilchasan and all the way in the back over there. So they might have made a mistake because a new volume started in the middle of the Mishnah in the Chav Gimel. No, you don't. No, you don't have a Mishnah that looks like it.
What does Mishnah not say?
Hold on, let's say goodbye to everybody. Goodbye.